Well, you have to go back a decade for when the title race was this tight between three teams.
Three great teams going toe-to-toe.
That's why we all love the Premier League, because it's so exciting.
March is going to be intense, right? They're all playing each other.
It's going to be a massive March, isn't it?
This is where we're going to find out about all three of them.
Derby day in the city of Manchester.
United is United. It's another final for us.
The next game for City, this big title game, is the game at Anfield.
It just felt like we'd watched a real heavyweight clash there.
That was a really good football game.
It's never been this tight this stage of the season. Three teams at the top separated by just 1 point.
Let's have it. The next game is Arsenal, and they're going to have to come here to the Etihad.
Listen to the Etihad Stadium!
The build-up starts now to Manchester City against Arsenal.
That's why we play football, because of these games.
Good afternoon and welcome along to MatchDay Live. Manchester City fans all around the world, we are bringing you pictures from the Etihad Stadium of our boys in blue arriving for this tantalising top-of-the-table clash as we welcome title contenders Arsenal to the Etihad Stadium. A big 3 points on the table today, hoping to be secured and hoping that we can leapfrog Arsenal in this ever-close and ever-tight title race. Now it's almost 12 months to the day since that 4-1 win over Arsenal led us all the way to winning 3 Premier League titles in the row. And I'll say it because you can see it on the bus. And also historic treble, so we'll be hoping for the same today. And we've been in imperious form over Arsenal. Over the last 12 times we've played, we have only lost once. But we all know that defeat came a little bit earlier on in the season with that 1-0 win for Arsenal at the Emirates. So today we will be looking to avenge just that. Now, given there has been an international break, we've had a few injuries, we've wondered who's going to start, and I can reveal right now, Kevin De Bruyne does start. And also, who is starting in the MatchDay Live studio? Well, look at this for a lineup. We have got footballing Manchester City legends in the form of Mr. Paul Dickov, Shaun and Kolo Toure. Great to have you back on the show, Kolo. Just quickly before we get to team news, how are you feeling about today's game?
Yeah, I feel really excited. You know, it's going to be a great game again, you know, for us as football fans. And, you know, those two teams have fantastic players, they have fantastic managers, and the football will be attacking football, which we like. Mm-hmm. And we hope that we have a lot of goals, and then the best team will win for me.
For us. Right, well, let's see then who have the managers chosen to bring us this unbelievable fixture we have here. Well, we're lining up like this. Ortega Moreno starts in goal. Questions whether Ederson will be back fit. He's not on the bench, so Ortega, of course, keeping his spot since he picked up that knock in the Liverpool game. Then we look to our defence, as we know. As I said, Manuel Akanji is starting. Stones, though, fit enough to be on the bench, which is a good sign. Sadly not for Kyle Walker, though. Ruben Diaz and Nathan Ake and Guardiola complete the back four. Then we move into our midfield, the ever-present Rodri, who also, unbelievably now, has gone a full calendar year and has not lost a game at club and international level. We'll speak about that in a little bit. Alongside him, Kovacic comes into the midfield, and captain in the side, none other than Mr. Kevin De Bruyne. So great to see him in the starting 11. Completing our front three then, it is none other than Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, who has been in some tantalising form, and Erling Haaland. Quickly to the bench as well. Scott Carson there. John Stones, as I say, fit enough to be on the bench, which is a great sign. Jack Grealish, Doku, Julian Alvarez, who has won his signed shirt, by the way. I'll reveal that later on. Gomez, Nunez, Oscar Bob, and Rico Lewis complete the starting 11. Well, let's get straight into the Arsenal starting team as well, as chosen by Mikel Arteta. Again, after the international break, wondering who would start. Well, one name that stands out there, Saka, is fit enough to start. But before we get to that, Raya in goal. A back four of Ben White, Saliba and Gabriel. What a partnership they formed this season. And Kivior as well completes the back four. Declan Rice, Jorginho and Martin Odegaard captains his side in that midfield three. And then Bukayo Saka, Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz completes their starting 11 on their bench as well. Ramsdale, Partey, Smith-Rowe, Martinelli, Nketiah, Tomiyasu, Trossard, Vieira and Zinchenko. Look at that man there as well, back at the Etihad. Gabriel Jesus, I will say, I hope he doesn't get on the score sheet today. Right, before we look at the Arsenal team news, let's begin with our Manchester City starting 11. Paul, I'll come to you. First thoughts when you saw that starting lineup?
That's always strong, you know. Obviously, we knew Kyle was out, a big boost having John Stones on the bench and Jack Grealish back on the bench as well. Delighted Manu Akanji's fit because he's been outstanding, you know. And if you look at both teams' back fours, it's more or less 4 centre halves that both sides have got. And on set pieces, Arsenal, I think they've scored more goals set pieces than any other team. So with Rodri in there as well, so there's loads of things today. Kovacic coming back in, you know, he's been excellent recently. I'm a huge fan, as you know.
Yes.
And then Phil, whose form's just been off the scale. Bernardo and the big man up front. So it's not a bad team, strong team. It's going to be interesting how they both set up. You know, Arsenal, when they came here last year, tried to really press City from the front. Sort of go man for man, and I've never seen Ederson kick a longer ball as much as he did that night.
Yes.
You know, went straight into Haaland, and we went and got up the pitch very quickly. So, how City set up, I think we probably know. How Arsenal are going to combat that and set up against us is going to be really interesting tactically.
It really is. Let's look at the setup then initially, Shaun, as well. Let's begin with the defence. So we're assuming obviously Walker out. Probably, do we think a Kanji right back? Guardiola left back and then Diaz and Ake in the middle, do we think, or what else could it be?
I think your guess is as good as mine. Listen, the thing is, because they're centre backs that can also play as fullbacks, I think this is where Akanji will come in, because in wide areas, this is where Arsenal is really good. They've got pace, and we're going to need their physicality to stop someone like Saka, getting in the ball, getting his head up and making those driving runs. But again, City players are able to adapt. They know how to play and deal with, you know, top quality players.
Sorry, Shaun, I think just on that, I think it's going to be interesting where Guardiola and Ake set up, because Ake last season up against Saka was outstanding.
Yes.
I know more often than not this season it's been Guardiola left back and Nathan in the middle. But it wouldn't surprise me if Nathan shifted out and Guardiola came back into his more natural position as a centre half to try and combat the threat of Saka.
Be interesting, Kolo. Guardiola, of course, signing in the summer. Big game for him today as well, going to be a big test. I wonder what you've made of him so far, and if you've seen much of him, obviously, at international level as well. But just how on point will our defence have to be, and Ortega as well, to deal with the threat of Odegaard, Saka, Kai Havertz, Gabriel Jesus? I mean, they've combined to score some unbelievable amount of goals.
This is a Arsenal team with unbelievable attacking threat, and I think for me, for Pep, the idea is to make sure that they defend well. If we defend well against Arsenal, you got a chance to win, because they have unbelievable attacking players. Saka is a fantastic player, and I think Paul, what you say there is very important. You have to make Saka is an incredible player. You have to make sure you block him, and I think Ake done very well against him.
He was always on the front foot all the time, wasn't he?
Exactly. I think Kairos, I think if you play in that position, the time I saw him play there, he struggles a bit, you know, because playing, he's a centre back and playing on the left side with his size, with his height, it's quite difficult for him.
Yes.
You know, in my opinion. And I saw him a few times in that left. I was not really convinced about him there. And I think the key point for me will be Ake on the side there, dealing with Saka, which is the most dangerous player in the league, because he's a guy who wants to get the ball and attack players 1v1. He's so skillful. He wants to go, and that's what Arteta asked him today. If you block that, you stop Arsenal big threat.
Another area of the pitch, Shaun, and it's been touted as the big battle, of course, is the battle of the midfield three. And maybe actually we should start with a man who, as I said at the start of the show, has not lost a game of football in a full calendar year now at club and international level. We know the importance of Rodri, but like, that stat is frightening, Shaun. And how key is he going to be today?
Well, it's phenomenal, and you know, I wonder if he's ever lost in training as well. I mean, he's a phenomenal player. He just puts out fires in so many ways. And when I say that, I mean when a team has the ball, when they're looking, they get their eyes up and they want to go into the front player while he's screening. So he's protecting the front player, but he's also got an eye on his player. So when it goes into his player, he's then jumping on and forcing that player to go back. We all know what it's like in possession. When he's in possession, he sees the game like in a bird's eye view. When you watch a game from high up, you go, the ball should go there. Well, he does that. And that's an amazing talent to have on the field, to actually know the ball should go there at the right time, at the right pace. It's a joy to actually watch him play, because his decision-making, every time he receives it, whether it's to just retain the ball, to slow the game up, or to play quicker, is absolutely unbelievable.
Also, I guess then from a defence point of view, I mean, how much would you have enjoyed, Kolo, having Rodri sat in front of you?
Unbelievable player. Unbelievable technically, tactically. He's an outstanding player, because he's a guy who you can trust. You can give him the ball. The way he's using his body between the ball and the opponent is incredible. He never loses ball because of that. It's not like really, he doesn't dribble anybody really, but he knows how to put his body between, or he knows how to use his teammate to get past people or to break the line of pass. I think he's, for me, if I was a defender, having him there, you know, it's God. It's God. And again, we talk about his quality on the ball is incredible. He see the game like no one can see. He see the action before, and if he's constantly moving. He's not quick, but because he's constantly moving, you know, he's always at the right time, at the right position, at the right time, all the time, because his focus on the game is incredible.
Yeah, it really is frightening. And as you say as well, the concentration levels he has is something else. He's been put alongside Kovacic today, Paul. As you said at the start of the show, a player I know you're a big fan of, but what do you think the thinking is there? Because usually we've either seen maybe a Bernardo or Phil in the middle. We're guessing they'll both be out wide. Why do you think he has gone for Kovacic in today's game?
I think his form in recent games has been really good, you know, and there was the big hoo-ha about when Kevin came off against Liverpool, but Kovacic came on and really settled the game down for us. You know, he keeps the ball, he breaks lines, not just by passing it, but he drives at people. You know, and it's going to be a possession-based game today, so the team that keeps the ball, the better, is going to end up being in top. And looking back to the game last year, when I think it was Gundogan that was in there with Kevin and Rodri, but Gundo actually played two sixes. I don't know if you remember, it was Rodri and Gundogan, and Kev had that space in front. And I'm just wondering if he's thinking similar as well, because Kovacic can sit in there behind Rodri and then give Kev that space in between the Arsenal midfield and the Arsenal back four, where we got a lot of joy last year.
And that's going to be key, isn't it? I guess, I mean, Kevin De Bruyne has seen him in the starting 11, but him being able to get on the ball in that kind of final third and pocket is probably where we're going to try and cause most of a threat, I guess, and finding Haaland, Kolo.
Absolutely, absolutely. Paul, you're right there again. You know, last time when you play with two number 6 like that, and against the Arsenal team who have really good wingers, defensively it helps you, because the midfield can help on the side. Shuffle across. And then stop the winger coming inside as well, which Saka like. When he come, he drift, he can go outside, or he try to come inside for a shot. And when you have a midfield there, you know, he cannot shoot there now, which is perfect.
And it's too much for one player just to do that job on both sides.
Exactly.
Interesting, yeah.
Absolutely, which is very important. And then you have De Bruyne up there as a number 10 role, which in the game that last season here, it was exactly the same, where, you know, at times Arsenal was pressing City very well, and what City was doing, go on top, and De Bruyne coming, you know, for the second ball. And few action came from that, and few goals came from that as well. That will be the same, in my opinion.
Yeah. Today, tactically, the first 15 minutes are going to be super interesting. You know, how both teams are going to set up against each other.
Shaun, I wanted to ask you, looking at the attacking side of the pitch, they're coming up against the best defence in the league this year. I think they've conceded the least goals. They've almost scored the most as well. The partnership of Gabriel and Saliba has been unbelievable. We've gone for Bernardo, Foden and Haaland. So what will they have to do today to make sure that, you know, we try and put goals past this incredible, resolute defence?
I think it isn't, typical City isn't just about those three. I think it's about the supporting players as well, because sometimes you could have Kovacic, for instance, making a run through the middle, and that could actually narrow off the defence, and then allows the wide players to have more time and space. And when they have more time and space, that means they could deliver a better ball, or it gives them the opportunity to gain momentum and drive in, and whether that's doing combination plays or just driving in and creating stuff. So when City attack, it isn't about the player on the ball. I think it's about other players around, but also it's about the space. You know, how can City take advantage of the space, whether the space is behind the defence or whether it's in front? Because if a team is deep, then the space could be in front, in the pockets, and this is where having width and being able to get balls to Kovacic or Bernardo or Foden, whoever's in there, then allows them to do the things they want to do.
Guess as well for this Arsenal defence, I don't think they'll have come up against Bar maybe at the Emirates in the return fixture at the start of the season, Kolo. Such an interchangeable group of 6 players. Will that cause them a headache if you've got suddenly Foden might move over to the right and Bernardo will come over to the left and maybe Kovacic will push forward? Is that where we could also threaten this Arsenal?
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely. And that's a strength of having top players. You know, they can change the role, they can change position, but they know the role of that position. And it's so difficult for a defense. As a defender, when there's movement from 2 players, it can be striker dropping and midfield coming. I'm like, oh, I'm lost there. You know, do I follow my striker? Do I stay? You know, and those little rotation cause big issue. But you need to be well done for the team who doing that, because that can expose you as a team if you keep rotating and the players don't have the tactical intelligence to just know the roles in the position.
Yeah. That's exactly to the point I was making, is that if you've got that interchange and you've got a striker that goes short, and as a defender, does he go short, but you've got a midfielder running in between, that also narrows off the fullback. The fullback has to come in narrow, so then if that ball goes wide, then you've got more time to run, create momentum. So it's a collective as a front 5, if you like, as to producing and creating chances.
I think, as you said, Kel, I don't think we'll see Bernardo and Phil wide. I don't think they'll spend all game on the touchline. I think they'll be coming inside and trying to cause problems in between both full-backs and the centre-halves, and then cause them a problem. Maybe Kolo, you'll know better, maybe Gabriel Jesus is in the team to do that wide area to try and help Cavaleiro out against Phil Foden, tracking back. Because one thing Gabriel Jesus has got, he's got unbelievable energy, fitness. He'll work so hard for the team, and that's going to be really important for Arsenal today, that the track back, because City will interchange everywhere.
He's almost like the team who are going to work well defensive, will win the game, because both teams have unbelievable attacking threat. But who will defend better?
Yes, yeah, that's where the game could be won or lost today. Yeah, fascinating. Gosh, this is getting me very excited. Let's take a pause here in the studio. Joining Alistair Mann in your commentary team today is Mr. Nicky Weaver. He's now pitchside with FG. We can get his thoughts of the game, and remember, you can listen to him and Alistair Mann on the official Manchester City app.
Yes, thank you very much. Welcome back to Pitchside, and I'm joined by Manchester City legend Nicky Weaver. Now, we've seen both teams. Let's start with the Manchester City team, and there's only one place and one question to ask you, and that's about Stefan Ortega. Starting today, but when he's played for Manchester City, he doesn't really let us down, does he?
No, you're not really weakening the team. He's as good a number 2 goalkeeper as I think you'll get in the Premier League. I thought it was absolutely fantastic when he came on for the last sort of half an hour or so at Anfield. Made 2 or 3 really important saves. He made a fantastic save against Newcastle last time out as well. So yeah. Listen, Edison's the out-and-out number 1 here, we all know that, but as number 2s go, I think Ortega's as good as you get in the Premier League.
Now, he hasn't played many games in the league for City, which is a stat we checked out before. The familiarity of a goalkeeper to your defence, does that matter? Or when he steps in, it always seems like he has such a great understanding anyway of the back four.
Yeah, listen, we'll work with the players every day in training, and it does seem to be sort of seamless when he does step in, because he obviously plays in the cup competitions. So yeah, I've got absolutely no doubts about Ortega stepping in. He's really comfortable with the ball. You can see how much the players trust him. So like I said, it is as good a number 2 as you'll get, and yeah, I've got absolutely no worries about him playing today.
And Mateo Kovacic in midfield as well, partnered alongside Rodri with De Bruyne in the middle. That's a very, very strong midfield, but he complements Rodri's game really, really well, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he'll sit in when Rodri wants to get a little bit more advanced, and I think he's a bit of a... I think the players who play with him will appreciate how good he is. And listen, we all know how good he is and the clubs he's been at and everything that he's won, but he's a little bit of an unsung hero. He's a better player, I think, than people realise. I don't think he quite gets the credit, but yeah, absolutely fantastic player, and let's hope he's on form today.
Well, hopefully we will see that from him today. And let's head over to the Arsenal team, talk about them quickly. We'll start with the goalkeeper again. It's only right as you're here. David Raya, he's come in, and he was under a little bit of pressure when he first came in because he took the place of Aaron Ramsdale, who is, of course, a fan's favourite. How do you think he's done?
Yeah, I think he's done okay. He's a definite, Arteta kind of goalkeeper. Obviously, they brought him in for his abilities with the ball at his feet. He had a really difficult start because, as you said, Aaron Ramsdale's a fan's favourite at Arsenal, and he's done really, really well. And I felt really sorry for him because he didn't do anything wrong, but sometimes managers just want to bring their own people in, and that's what he's done. And I think after a little bit of a dicey start, he's done really well, to be fair.
Part and parcel of the life of a goalkeeper, I guess. And also, back to what you were saying about Ryan, made a couple of iffy moments, a couple of mistakes. How much strength and character has he shown to continue playing and play at a high level?
Well, I think top players, you've got to have that mentality, haven't you? And especially as a goalkeeper, because when you're playing for a club like Arsenal or one of the big clubs, every pretty much goal you let in is going to be under scrutiny. And he was scrutinised, you know, within an inch of his life for the first sort of 2 or 3 months he came in at Arsenal. But he's rode the storm, he's done well, and yeah, it looks all the part of it to me.
And what about this Arsenal team then? So looking at how they were here last year, they were demolished in some way, but they seem like a lot more of a stronger unit this year, don't they?
Yeah, I think they've got the meanest defence in the Premier League, which is something you don't really associate Arsenal with. Since Christmas, they've been really free scoring. They had a few 5s and 6s. So yeah, it's a real strong Arsenal team. They've got pace, they've got guile, the centre-back pairing's really, really good as well. So yeah, it's going to be a really tough game for City today, but hopefully we can go on and get the job done.
Hopefully it's going to be a fascinating game indeed. And I'll tell you what a fascinating game was here in 2006 at the Etihad Stadium, when a certain Nicky Weaver kept a clean sheet and made 2 great saves in a win. And the saves were from Thierry Henry. What do you remember from that day?
Well, they were both quite early on. I remember we'd lost the first game of the season at Chelsea. We'd drawn against Portsmouth 0-0 in the week. Then we were playing Arsenal, so we're like, don't really get any tougher. And I just remember, it's not a great sight for a goalkeeper when you've got Thierry Henry bearing down on you. But luckily, I managed to get my body in the way and saved a couple and kept a clean sheet. And I remember it now. It was a great win. And yeah, it sort of kicked us on for a good start to the season, that is for sure.
It did indeed. Now finally, before we head back as well, one more point is Arsenal haven't played a game together for 19 days. Does that make a difference as a team? I mean, they've been on international duty, some of them. They've probably got minutes in the tank, but the rhythm and stuff, does it change when you don't play together for that long?
I think it's been the same for a lot of the clubs, hasn't it? It's been a very disjointed sort of couple of weeks with most players been away internationally. But I don't think we'll only know after the game, won't we? But I don't think it really bothers the top players. But yeah, it's certainly going to be a pulsating game. It was a pulsating at Anfield a few weeks ago. Hopefully it's a good game today and hopefully City can come out on top.
Well, absolutely. That is not all from Nicky Weaver. You can hear everything on the co-coms today of MatchDay Live on City Plus. So make sure you listen in if you're not at the game today. But let's head back to the studio.
Thanks, FG, and thanks to Nicky Weaver. Pulsating
incredible.
From Nicky Weaver.
How do you think we're going to get on?
And how much the game as well? Then, Paul, you remember that game as well? The one that we just a little look back on there.
Yeah, I did. I think I played against this man here. That game. It was my full debut back for my second spell.
Yes.
And I think I touched the ball twice all game because I had somebody rushing, chasing me everywhere. I was like, can you just go away, please?
You've just seen as well there's a WhatsApp number on the bottom of your screen. That's how you can get involved with the show. If you've got questions for our guests, you can use that number there, and I'll be trying to put some to our guests at half-time and full-time. If I've got time, I'll squeeze them in a little bit later on as well. Also, I want to ask you this question. I'm going to open it up to our guests as well. Cracking bit of trivia here for you. So, Kolo Toure is one of 2 players who have played for all 3 teams in the title race. So played for Liverpool, Arsenal and Man City. Do we know who that second player is? It's a good question. Ooh. I'm still yet to work it out. So I'm with one of them. But who was the second? So if you do know, straight away, have you got an idea?
I know.
Okay.
Hey, we know.
So we know we're in the studio. Do you know at home? Use that all-important WhatsApp number and get your question in as well when you fire in your guess. I'll reveal that a little bit later on in the show. Kolo, let's begin with Arsenal's defence, and we touched upon it at the start of the show, but the pairing of Saliba and Gabriel, and you even said off air, is making sure that they start today. What is it that's clicked for them this season? Why have they been so good, and why have they kept the most clean sheets in the league and conceded the least goals?
I will say that, of course, experience help, and both of them have improved a lot. But one thing I think for me strike me is Declan Rice.
Yeah.
I think since he came to this team, he helped the defense a lot. Mm-hmm. And that I'll go back to our time with Arsenal. With Saul, me, Ashley Cole, Lauren. We had Gilberto Silva in front of us.
Yeah. Yes.
And Gilberto was a really important player.
So underrated, wasn't he?
So underrated, but he was a player he was the first defender for us. I think Declan Rice have been the key figure in my opinion. He's always there.
Yes.
You see that he's always there. He's somebody who wants to defend. You see, for me, his quality is he anticipates the game very well. You see, he's running back here to get the ball back there. you know, and all those things are so important for defenders.
Yes.
You need to have a guy that you can rely in front of you, who can defend, you know, very well for you to make sure the ball doesn't get close to you. And I think for me that he's been the key player for them defensively, in my opinion.
Yeah. Declan Rice on that side of things, the other player in that midfield, obviously Jorginho. It's funny, they kind of almost mirrored the same way, you know, Jorginho almost like the Kovacic for Arsenal, and it's not going to be Kevin De Bruyne, of course, because he's the best, but Martin Odegaard as well, so key for them, Shaun, and he's definitely a threat and someone we're going to have to try and nullify today.
Yeah, he might be a bit of Foden in terms of his style of play. In tight areas, he has such good feet. There you see how he's just shifted himself out. He has the ability, obviously to find sort of the through pass, the killer passes. But I think one of his real qualities in tight areas, he's got really good feet to manoeuvre himself out, and he has vision. I think he's slightly different to De Bruyne. De Bruyne can be wide, can kill a team with a cross, can be deep and kill a team with a through pass. But he has neat feet and being able to drive forward and create opportunities. So he's the key one to keep quiet, certainly.
Also, we were wondering, we know Saka is starting. Was Martinelli going to be fitting up on the left-hand side? It's Kai Havertz. How do you think he's going to go if it is Manuel Akanji on the right? And obviously, we spoke about, but Saka again, we're going to have to keep quiet if he plays on the side, unless Jesus drops out there, as you said.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think it'll be Havertz in that false nine role, because he's been really influential for Arsenal recently,
Yes.
and we know Gabriel Jesus can play wide either side. So I would imagine he might sort of come out to the left a little bit, but I think Gabriel's probably in there to do that. We said before, not just for his attacking ability, but for his energy and defensively what he gives to the team. You know, and just going back to what Kolo was saying about Declan Rice there, you know, Odegaard this season for me has been fantastic, but I think that's because he's had Declan Rice in there alongside him. You know, it's gave Martin Odegaard the sort of freedom to go anywhere he wants, because he knows he's got the comfort behind him of a Declan Rice and a Jorginho in there. Whereas last season it was a 4-3-3, and it was the one sitting there, it'd be Partey or Jorginho, then there was the two in front, and he didn't have as much freedom. Now with Declan Rice in there on the ground that he covers, it allows Odegaard to drift a little bit and cause problems for the team.
Yeah, it gives him more of that freedom.
Yeah.
I wondered, given we remember the fixture last year, how much more mature are this Arsenal team now coming into this game? Because it definitely feels as well, the noise around it, Kolo, there's a lot more of a confidence there. Do you think, given the season they've had, it has kind of almost, they've made that step up to really come here and compete and maybe kind of try and do better than they did here last year?
I think, unfortunately, you know, in football, to get better, you need to make mistakes, and you learn from the mistake, you know. And I think Arsenal has learned for sure. And we can see that recently when they play against City, you can see tactically they've been better. Yeah. They've been much better when they play against City in comparison to last season. And I'm sure that this team is well mature, but they play against one of the best sides in the world, or the best side in the world, you know, with Manchester City, with a fantastic manager who always comes with new ideas. He's coming with new concepts in the game, and today we come with something special, you know, and that can make a big difference. But I'm sure that, you know, Arsenal has been better than last season, 100%. I'm sure.
I think one of the areas is Zalibra, the actual centre back, because I think when it started to unravel a bit for Arsenal, he ended up being injured, and they just couldn't. They just lost the form at the right time. The replacements that came in was unable to fulfil. He has been huge for them, and then they've just got that relationship. Him and Gabriel has just been really solid. So I think Erling Haaland has a huge game. He always, you know, produces for us, but he's coming up against a really tough defence as well.
It's a great shout, that,
Yeah.
Shaun.
Yeah.
Just wanted to quickly ask, we're going to hear from Emmanuel Petit and Gareth Barry in just a second, but we remember last year you said how Arsenal came and pressed, Paul. It's hard to call, isn't it, before the teams take to the pitch in, 35 minutes' time. Do you think they'll be coming to do the same again, though, as well, this year?
I do, yeah. I think Mikel will probably feel that they're the team that's top of the league. They're in good form. The main reason for the form of scoring lots of goals is because they are really pressing high up the pitch. They're so energetic in everything that they do. And I think Mikel will probably say to his both centre-halves we're just talking about, look, if we're going to press, you just have to deal with Haaland and De Bruyne in that space.
Yes.
Because that's where they're going to hurt us. So I don't really expect anything less.
anything less. Lovely stuff. Right, we're going to take a pause there in the studio. We're speaking as well of those maybe players that didn't get all the credit they deserve. Gareth Barry was one for the Manchester City team that went on to win the league. Well, he is pitchside now with Emmanuel Petit and FG. We caught up with them a little bit earlier on.
Yes, thank you very much. I am joined pitchside by two absolute legends, Manchester City's Gareth Barry and Emmanuel Petit as well. A World Cup winner. Gareth, we'll start with you. Big game today, mate. How are you feeling?
I'm really excited. You know, you look at the two squads, the form they're in, the amount of goals they're scoring at the moment. You know, I'm expecting a great game. Both teams are going to want to dominate possession. Both managers know each other inside out, so I'm looking forward to any tactical sort of switches they may bring in today. But you know, I'm expecting goals. I don't want to put the jinx on it, but I'm expecting goals.
Let's hope you haven't put the jinx on it. Emmanuel, we'll come to you. Maybe from an Arsenal perspective, how important do you think this game is for Arsenal?
I think it's very important because what we saw last season, you know, at the same point, you know, they lost the plot, you know, mentally. I think this game will show that they improve a lot individually and collectively. So I'm very excited about this game, and I can't wait to watch it.
Neither, well, I think we all can't wait. And let's take you down memory lane, Gareth. There was a game at the Emirates Stadium where it was a Mikel Arteta who actually scored a goal against the Man City side. I was in the away end that day, and it felt like it was doom and gloom, but the group of players really took it to the next level and ended up winning the league that year. Do you think the result today is important for Man City, or if they were to lose this game, do you think they'd be potentially out of the title race?
Looking back at that season you're on about, you find it hard to see how City come back that year. In the dressing room after, we thought the season had done. Mario had got sent off. We'd lost the game. We hadn't played well. But you know, after we stuck together and produced a great run of results. So although it's not the be and end all, if you're going to lose today, there's plenty of games left. You get to the stage of the season where you want it in your own hands almost when you come into the last 8 games. But we all know the Premier League, there's twists and turns all the time. But this stage of the season, you want it in your own hands. You don't want to be relying on other fixtures.
Do you think you played without the pressure that day, like after that game? So because everyone had pretty much written you off, the media had written you off, everything. Do you think the pressure was sort of gone and you just relaxed a lot more in your performances?
I think so. After that result, Arsenal, it was Manchester United's sort of title to lose. We produced 6 wins in a row, and they started, which was a surprise really, with the experience they had in their squad. But ultimately, it's about sticking together because you never know what's going to happen. No matter what result happens today, the squads will both have to get back together.
They will indeed. Now, Emmanuel, you've played under Pep at Barca. What was that like? What was that experience like?
He was acting as a manager on the pitch as well. So I'm not surprised that he became the manager he is. Probably the best in the world, among the best, but for me, it's the best. And he was directing his teammates all the time on the pitch, you know, controlling the game, the rhythm. You know, he was building the game from behind, and he was acting as a leader, as always.
Now, you played against Mikel Arteta. Did you think he was going to become a manager as well?
Yes, when I joined Everton, the coaches and the physio staff they spoke highly of him and what a leader he was off the pitch. So just little insights into players like that, you know, they're going to sort of go into that road of managing and coaching, and you know, he had the best sort of learning curve under Guardiola, and you can see the mannerisms, the way they are on the touchline. It's very similar, the style that both the teams play. You know, there's so many traits, and you know that should be a good game today.
It should indeed. Now, we've heard from a podcast from you recently where you're speaking about Phil Foden. I want to ask you, in your career, was there a player that you played with that was similar to the way Phil Foden plays and potentially the growth?
What, as his age?
Yeah, in terms of age, yeah.
Not the same position, but it reminds me, you know, on the start of Thierry Henry, you know. I think he started very strongly, you know, and he became such a great player. But it's very rare, you know. I think generation nowadays are not the same that we used to be. I think they are more mature, you know, and they can handle, you know, the pressure every single game.
I mean, you can definitely handle the pressure because you scored a goal in a World Cup final.
Yeah, that was easy. You know, it was in France, you know, in front of my family, my friends. So we are winning 2-0 already. So it's 5 minutes to go. So no risk at all. So.
I'm with Gareth on this one. Absolutely do not play that down. It was a goal in the World Cup final, and you're a World Cup winner now. Gareth, you had some absolutely incredible memories here. City fans absolutely adored you here. I think people looked at you when you finished your career as such a great player, but you also played and shared a dressing room with a man who's in the Matchday live studio, and that's Kolo Toure. So hello, Kolo. We are about to now ask Gareth for all the inside scoop on what Kolo was like.
He's so intense, so hard to work with. You know, we had to divide him from fights all the time. He's just that type of guy. No, incredible teammate, Kolo, and he was a big reason why Man City went from that team that hadn't won a trophy for so long and went on to win trophies. He's a leader and always 100% a great teammate.
And you were an absolute incredible servant to this club, so thank you, and thank you so much,
you,
Daniel,
guys.
for joining us. Let's head back to the studio. By the way, what a midfield trio this is.
I'm not holding.
Yeah. So what about this for a spine of a team in the studio as well? Paul, Dickov, Shaun, Kolo, Toure, alongside me. Some lovely words from your former teammate there. And speaking of having players play in front of you, Gareth Barry must have been a great one to have in front of you as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. I was saying to the guys that he dressed like he used to play. Class, very class. He looked great there. And, he was such a classic player. I would say, like, everything clean. You know what to expect to him. Clean on his pass, working hard for the defense, reliable player. Every day at training, he was the same player. On the game, he was the same player. And such a great personality. And, having those players around you help you to flourish and help the club to win, the trophy that we won.
Really did indeed. Let's take a look at this then, Kolo, Shaun and Paul. Shaun, race for the title. So it's finished at Anfield. Liverpool did what they needed to do against Brighton and won 2-1. The winning goal scored by Mohamed Salah. What feelings does this bring up, Shaun, when you look at this? It makes me nervous, a bit excited, but mainly nervous.
Well, when I look at this, I'm thinking home games is where you could have an advantage. Our last game is away, but we are the sort of team that, winning all our games and getting to that last game, I have no doubt we'll get across the line. But as I look at it now, I think, oh, what a tough game, Spurs away. But when you have momentum and belief and the manager that we have, I think that we'll be able to easily see across the line. Liverpool, I think United's one of theirs. It's a tough one for them. Mm-hmm. That's where I would be hoping that United could do something. Arsenal's similar to us. I mean, their last game's away at Wolves. If they have momentum, I think they'll see themselves across Wolves. But when I look and see, I think Brighton's the team that I think could cause them a little trouble.
Yeah, and we've got to face Brighton as well. I think that Tottenham game as well. Looking at these next 5 fixtures, Tottenham I think is still to be rescheduled. Yeah. But I mean, Paul, how important is it City win today? Because that means that will obviously put us on 66 points, point behind Liverpool, with then 2 points clear of Arsenal. How key is that, and how important is this going to be for the running for the title?
I think it's massive, but I don't think the title will be decided today. I think after today's game, I know Liverpool played. They've got 9 games left. We've both got 10. Arsenal and City coming up. So I said a few weeks ago, Kel, that I genuinely believe there'll be little hiccups when nobody's expecting it. I think the big games, top players, the big games take care of themselves. You look at, you're saying Wolves away there. Wolves will be tricky. Brighton away. Then you look at Liverpool, got to go to United away, and then obviously Palace away for us is never easy. And when you look at it, us and Liverpool there have got 5 out of the next 6 games, 4 out of the next 5 games at home.
Yes.
Arsenal have got 3 of them away. So there's going to be twists and turns, and there really is from now to the end of the season. And we're 10 games to go now. Once it gets to 5 games to go, 4 games to go, and the pressure really starts racking up, the team that handles the pressure will go on and win the league.
Glad you mentioned pressure, actually, because that's what we was chatting off camera, Kolo, and obviously you've been there as well in these run-ins when you're going in for a title. And I think as fans, we don't understand or will appreciate what that pressure can do. How much will that play a part in how these final 10 games go, and who do you think is maybe best placed to deal with it?
I will say that Man City are in best position because they're used to that pressure. They're used to control the nerve, and they won that, for the past 2-3 years now, and they've been in that situation where they know they have to focus on them. They know that's still a lot of games, and they will just keep. It doesn't matter what happened today, City will still be on it. Because they know that the other team are the one who have to win the title, and those teams will be on pressure until the end of the season, until the last game, and because those 2 teams, they haven't won the league for quite a long time, you know, especially at Arsenal, and the pressure is on them really to keep pushing.
Yes.
You know, City knows what they are capable of doing because they've been doing that time and time recently, and you know, controlling your nerve, controlling your performance is the most important. Every game they're winnable. They can win all those games.
Yes.
But is who gonna control his nerve better than the other team?
Yes.
Who's gonna win the title?
I think what Kolo's saying there is so true. You know, and over the last, what was it, 5 out of the last 6 years, City have won the Premier League, but they've done it both ways. They've won it from leading from the front.
Yeah.
And they've done it having to chase down, and they've never panicked in either situation. You know, so that experience they've got, I think that's what makes them the favourite from now to the end of the season, because they've been there, they know how to do it. And you look at the experience through the team, the amount of titles that they've won through the team, you know, and they know how to get over the line.
Yeah, they really do. One man, obviously, who's going to be trying to help them do that, Mikel Arteta. Shaun, we just want to kind of focus on some managers, well, Pep, Wenger and Arteta. But how impressed have you been with what he's done at Arsenal? Because it really feels that this team is growing, and obviously he's trying to do what Kolo said, which is win that first title for Arsenal since Arsene Wenger.
Yeah, I think he's done phenomenal. I think he's done well. He's won the FA Cup, and then he had a little period where it was a little bit of a struggle for him, but he's regained. And I think he's been a perfect fit for them. But he's shown the type of manager that he is in terms of what he's learned from Guardiola, and also putting his personality on the team. And his personality is, as Paul says, sometimes playing City and saying, I want to go for it. I want to go, I want to press, I want to be on the front foot. Some of that is stuff he's learned from Pep. Some of that will be his own personality. But that's what makes him a really good manager, and it just makes it great for the Premier League that you've got another manager that's great tactically, that has, you know, has a team that wants to go out and push and say, I want to really challenge you. And today's a huge challenge for them, because if I refer back to someone like Sir Alex Ferguson, the amount of players that were managed, that were playing under him, that became managers, that when they played against him or learned from him, they struggled. And as much information and knowledge as Pep will give, there's just something within him that he knows at a given time at a game, it needs this call. And you can't teach that to someone. You can't, you know, pass that on. It's just something that he knows at the given time, I got to take this play off and do that. I just know it works. And we all think, well, we never saw it. But Pep just has that. He's that way as a manager. He's world class. He's just the best.
That's that magical quality, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, another man who had that magical quality, a man who kind of almost paved the way, particularly in England, for seeing the football we see now, is Arsene Wenger, the man who brought you to Arsenal. I've got 2 questions. The first one, though, is what was it like to play for Arsenal, particularly in that glory time as well, Kolo?
It was fantastic. What a manager! What a fantastic manager. For me, it was special. You know, I came from Africa. No one knew about me. Give me the opportunity to train with Arsenal. Did my try, you know, and give me the contract.
Yeah.
And then he gave me opportunity to play in the Premier League. You know, I was young, I was naive, but he was not threatened to give me that opportunity. You know, of course, I was around Martin Keough, Sol Campbell, Patrick Vieira, guys like that who just helped me, you know, to be a better player. But Arsene he gave you some freedom. He give you time to flourish, to get better.
Trust
you as a young player, and you know, big respect. I call him my father, you know, because I think you really, without him, I was not going to make the career that I done. He's a fantastic man management. For me, he's the best. You know, he's the best. He doesn't talk a lot, doesn't talk too much about tactic, but everything that those 2 coaches does, he used to do, because he used to recruit players in relation to the position. If you remember, Freddie Ljungberg was a winger playing on the right, but he was direct, running in the space. Exactly. And then you have Robert Pires. But Robert Pires used to come on the middle as a number 10 to make the box. You know, that we see. You know what I mean? And we were not talking about that, but he was playing players in the position that he knew they were drift inside. When we stay wide, we run in the space as the second striker. You know, we had Ashley Cole
down the outside,
down in the side. Yeah. You know, and then we
I get it now. I finally see it.
You know what I mean? And then we end up being a back three with Sol Campbell, with me and Lauren. Because Lauren was used to, he goes forward, but not as much as Ashley Cole, you know. But we were not talking about that. But in the game, because we had the attribute, the players were doing that, you know, naturally.
Yeah, well, and that's Wenger's wisdom there, was doing it without having to
exactly,
say about
without talking, really.
Amazing. I have to ask you as well, because I've got it down here, your first training session.
This is amazing.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I've got written here that it left Arsenal in the medical room.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that.
You know, coming from Africa,
yeah,
you know, and having the opportunity to train with Dennis Bergkamp, Patrick Vieira, guys that you saw on the TV, I was like, oh my God, come on. You know, I have to show my best football there. You know, and there's a game playing, you know, a small side game, I think. I remember the ball goes out. And when the ball goes out, Arsenal just run to get the ball back. But for me, I think that the game is just carry on. I just keep running and then boom, tackle him at the same time that he's turning. You know, that was really funny. The players, honestly, it was crazy. Everybody was laughing. Everybody, I was scared. I was like, what I've done?
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, but it was fine, you know. And I think the players were great because I think the player realized how much I wanted to be in the team. And I think they are the one who said to him, like, side him. You know, sign him really, because they saw that I could bring something, you know. And but that was naivety. I mean, naivety, but at the same time,
that's brilliant.
Enthusiastic. You know, to just
enthusiasm.
Exactly.
It's got the Paul Dickov seal of approval.
Absolutely. He's done that to me a few times as well on the pitch.
Bang around. He could tackle.
But we should quickly mention as well the man who stands on our touchline, Pep. Can we ever understate the influence he's had on the game, particularly this modern game now that we see, Paul?
No, obviously we know his Barcelona team and Bayern Munich team, but the effect he's had on not just the Premier League but English football. You know, you watch Championship games now, you watch League One, you watch League Two. They're all trying to emulate what we've brought in here, as in playing out from the back, as in full-backs going into midfield, and you know, Kolo touched on it ever so slightly before, and people say that. They used to say Pep doesn't have a plan B. He makes little tweaks all the time that makes the differences in the big games. You know, and he's evolving all the time. You know, we went from the false nine, then you see all other clubs are trying to play like a false nine. You know, last season we've seen both full-backs coming in, inverted full-backs. A couple of seasons later, you see other teams trying to come in, but he doesn't keep it the same. You know, he does not. And the amount of turnover of players. You look at the players we've lost. You know, we're never going to replace Vincent Kompany.
Yeah.
You know, Diaz comes in. You know, we're never going to replace Fernandinho. Rodri comes in. You know, the wide players, you know, we went from having Sané and Raheem Sterling as out-and-out strikers to Mahrez and Fuller, Bernardo Silva, Jack coming inside. And this season, we've got more sort of ball carriers, Kovacic, you know, Jack Grealish. You know, he's evolving all the time what he's doing, because he knows that if he doesn't, the other teams will start catching him up. So he's always thinking one step ahead. And that influence he's having on other managers and other teams to try and catch up with them. And when they do, he's always ready to do something else to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
And the one thing, just to piggyback on that, is what's really changed the game. You look at our goalkeepers, Addison, Ortega. I mean, the calmness these guys have to wait for pressure to come to then still be able to pass short, or whether it's 50, 60 yards. And as Paul says, you see other teams try it and you just think, well, they don't have the same quality. But he has, for me, he's just changed the shape of the game and made people think, well, I need a goalkeeper now that can play with their feet, which is...
That's a great point. Steve, Kyle Walker's interview the other week there, when he was talking about a lot of teams say that they're going to come and go man-to-man with us. They're like, bring it on. So if you want to go man-to-man, your centre-forward's going to have to go and pick up Ederson. Which is, and then everybody else. But because Ederson's that good in the ball, he can do that. And it causes teams so many problems. And Stefan Ortega, you know, talking about how good Ederson is, and he's been unbelievable when he's had to come in the team.
Yeah, he really has. And I guess as well, that's, you said at the start of the show as well, what we'll get to see as well today, there'll be tweaks happening on the pitch that, you know, fans maybe don't notice, but you do, because you've got two real astute brains of the game going head to head. It's very exciting. All right, let me bring you some more special guests. As we know, these games bring everyone to the Etihad Stadium. FG is now alongside Houston, Texas, Kiami Fairburn, and New York Jets, CJ Mosley.
Yes, thank you very much. I am joined pitchside by two absolute members of American football royalty. We're joined by CJ and Amy. First things first, you guys have been flying the flag for Manchester City for quite a while now. I want to ask you how it all came about.
Ooh, that's a good question. Honestly, FIFA, we talked about it earlier. It's just they got the best players in the game, so why not?
So you play a lot of FC 24 at the minute. Do you still play that?
Oh, all the time. That's my favorite game.
Absolutely,
yeah, definitely still play. I'm not as big on the ultimate team because that's a lot of grinding. But I'm put me on my player, my pro. I'm in there.
Who do you think wins the game between you two then in the game of FC 24?
I think we might have to run that.
Yeah, I mean I don't know. I don't know how his game is. So I mean we got to go by default. I'm gonna go with me.
I thought you'd back yourself a little bit more. How are you enjoying Manchester? Obviously the weather's typical Manchester. It's not quite raining, but happy to be here for such a big occasion.
Yeah, the atmosphere is incredible. You can just feel the electricity in the air a little bit. It's an incredible day, and with the season on the line, you can feel it.
And how do you feel like in terms of watching the players behind us as we see them warming up, champions of the world? If you had to pick a player to play alongside you with attributes from this team, who would it be?
Well, since I'm a linebacker, I got to go with Martin Tyler. You know, I looked at his stats in the program today, and he got some great stats. So, you know, he's running around, communicating, doing great assists. So you think about assist tackles. So I would definitely go with Martin Tyler.
And what about for you? Who would you pick to play alongside you?
I go KDB. Incredible. He's the best midfielder in the world.
An absolutely incredible player indeed. Now, in the summer, we have the pleasure of heading to the US for the US tour after the end of the season, starting the next season. What can we expect, and how much has the portfolio of football or soccer grown in the US?
For me, I would just say I think it's just an opportunity for both sides of the world, both sides of the fans, just to grow, as far as, you know, learning each other's games, you know, experiencing, you know, the different culture. I've been out here for, I think, 4 days now. I was just in Bristol. So, I mean, just those two different places, but only 2 hours away. And just the culture and the community, man, it's great out here, so I love it.
Well, it's an absolute pleasure to have you both here. Before we head back to the studio, a quick prediction on today's game.
Ooh, good question. I hope there's a lot of goals. That's all I hope for, honestly. Maybe 3-2?
3-2, and CJ?
I like a 3-2 with a little 93-20 finish. So let's make it special. It's our first time, so just be dramatic with it.
Well, listen, we hope you have a great time. You're more than welcome to come back here, and hopefully we'll see you on the US tour as well. So let's head back to the studio.
I think it's safe to say it will be a dramatic game indeed. Now let's take a little look at this. These are the Premier League Hall of Fame nominees. As we know, already got a City contingent in there in the form of Company and Aguero, but these are who you can vote for at the moment at premierleague.com/Hall of Fame. For me, obviously I know I'm biased, but surely David Silva and Yaya Toure have got to join Vinny Company and Sergio Aguero. Some big names on there, Kolo, but of course we'll be getting a voting for your brother, I think, on your side.
Yeah, exactly, but I'm surprised my name is not there. Feel down a little bit.
You'll be on the next letter votes, Kolo.
Yeah, I think he's good, you know.
Do you know what? They should get rid of the fourth person along the middle row and put Kolo Toure in there.
Yeah. We'll swap Gary out for Kolo Toure, definitely. I mean, some big names there, Shaun. But I mean, you'd go for any of them, but we'd like to see those City players in there.
Yes, without shadow of a doubt. I mean, David Silva, Yaya Toure, Yaya, the emotions he used to make me feel watching him play, driving forward, going across defenders, setting up blue 1-2, side footing, like 28 yards outside the box, side footing the ball. I just think he was phenomenal. He would get 1,000 of my votes.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying that because his brother's here, but Yaya was exceptional.
As his brother though, Kolo, as well. I mean, anyone that I go back and actually watch highlight bits of Yaya, he was unbelievable in the Premier League. I mean, as a brother, you must be so proud. But Jolene always says when he turned up, you'd win the game basically.
Yaya was a complete player in my opinion. Yaya can play centre back. Yaya could play defensive midfield. Yaya can play number 10. Yaya could play number 8, number 9, any position, you know. And he's a guy who could carry a team. You know, when he wanted to score or to make the team win, he will just create things. You know, because he had everything. He could shoot, score. He could, you know, anything he could. You know, and such a fantastic player, you know, and for me as a brother, you know, and when you see a younger brother doing what he did, I'm so proud.
Absolutely.
You know, so proud because I think he's, you know, if he wasn't as good as you know, I did, I was going to feel like, you know, something missing. You know, and I'm so proud of what he did. He's a legend of the club. You know, I hope you can see him more here a little bit. You know, because I think he loves Manchester City. I love Manchester City, and I'm sure that we will see him soon.
Yeah, we'd love to. We'll be getting him down here for sure, and as we know, City fans will know, key to everything Manchester City did. Wow, I mean, this show has flown by. Arsenal come into the tunnel. We had David Silva on there as well. I mean, we don't even need to say much on that. The magician point.
It was for me. I think the last time we were in, we had to do a quiz about the best Manchester City player that I had seen. You know, and I said I've got to put David in there. Yaya, going back to Yaya very quickly, he could do things other midfielders just couldn't do. He could do everything, and he had a spell of 2 or 3 seasons where he was unplayable. He was unplayable, but David Silva, for the amount of time he was here, from when he first came in, everybody's saying he's too small, technical, Spanish. He was just an absolute joy to watch, you know. And for me, he's got to be right up there. I think they just put the 2 City players there.
Yeah, that's it. Well, you know what to do, City fans. Go and cast your vote for them 2 players, and we'll get them in there alongside Company and Aguero. It's time to get some final thoughts. Shaun, so I'm going to begin with you. We can see the Arsenal boys in the tunnel there. How can you see the game playing out today? Where is it going to be won and lost?
I think the game is won and lost with Pep. I really do, because he's, in terms of tactics, he will see a team. What I find amazing about him is he'll see a team and what they're doing at halftime and be able to make a tweak and adjustment that, as much as I watch and study and see what he does, I just don't see some of the moves. And as Paul says, some of these moves are happening during the game at times, just the players to do certain things. He just finds a way to beat teams. I think it's going to be very close. If you ask me for a prediction, I'm quite happy to give you one.
I would like your prediction, please, Shaun.
I think it's going to be, I'm going to steal prediction terms, say 2-1 or 3-2 to City. I think it's going to be close. So I'm putting 1 goal in it. But I think Pep he just finds a way as a manager. I think it's sensational as a manager, he really is.
Couldn't agree more, Shaun. Kolo, I mean, you've got a leading sister both, but I'd be score prediction from you today, or how could you see the game playing out a little bit?
For me, it's going to be the team that will manage the international week better. Because when they come from international week, what happens with the players? They lose the focus a little bit. And the team will going to connect very quickly to win that game. Because, you know, I've been there. You know, when I come back, I'm thinking about what happened. National team, you know, I get lost a little bit, you know. And but, you know, it's difficult to give a prediction in my opinion, but I can see I will go for maybe for a draw today. I'll go for a draw,
Yeah, lots of goals though, a couple of goals in there.
Yeah, exactly, but a draw. I'll go for that.
All right, we've got a draw from Kolo. So, Paul, final prediction from you, please, sir?
Comfortable 3-1 win.
Love to hear that. There we are. Paul Dickov, always bringing the good vibes. Right, Alistair Mann and Nicky Weaver, I've got your commentary on the Manchester City app. We've had brilliant questions come in, so I'll be delivering them at half-time. So make sure you come join us in the MatchDay Live studio. Final thing for me to say, though, now is come on, City.
Well, they pushed each other all the way last season, and now in one of the most unpredictable title races in years, City face Arsenal at the Etihad Stadium.